It looks like it just might be just being you, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the, while we're waiting to see if anybody else shows up, I'll send you the documents that we're going to be
Okay.
reviewing today.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Get the email?
Uh, just give me a second. Yes, I just got it. Yeah.
I'm gonna open up into the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And this is you're probably being brand new, you would be going with Connect MLS. This is the older version, which was literally just replaced, but this is, I think the idea of this class is to introduce people to sort of the thought process and how do you, once you have an assignment to do a CMA for some potential seller, how do you go about doing that? And what kind of criteria do you put in place to draw conclusions as to a suggested listing value or a suggested sales value for a property? This, I'll share with you that I've been doing this particular property for a while. And for, at least in my opinion, for good reasons. It's got a great history. And so I'm gonna just pull it up right now. So MLS number 170283503. So
Okay.
I pull it up. And one of the reasons I like using this property as well, because it was on the MLS at one point in time. So we have an advantage of seeing photos of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes when you're going to be helping somebody arrive at a sale price and a list price for their property, it hasn't been on the market for a number of years. So there would be no MLS history. Therefore, you would have to rely on strictly the what you do have in your packet of information, the assessor's information from the town,
Okay.
which gives you all the data statistics
Mhm.
pertaining to the property, size of the property, size of the house, the square footage, the number of bathrooms, bedrooms, et cetera, et cetera. So this particular property, if I open it up by clicking on the MLS number, there we have it. So 105 Walden Street in West Hartford. This, town by town by town, things can be kind of interesting, different sections of towns might have different values. West Hartford certainly is one of those communities. There are probably 5 zip codes in West Hartford. And so when you're trying to do these things, as much as possible, you try to do apples to apples. So we're going to be looking for properties that sort of, fall in line with this property, but age, size, location.
And
And location would definitely would be really, really important. It is in West Hartford. Now, this property has a zip code of 06107. That is the zip code for the center of town. Where do you live, Paul?
I live in South Windsor.
Oh, okay. Well, South Windsor has a couple sections as well that differ. It's it is true in some towns and not so true in others. I mean, smaller towns, they only have one zip code. They might have different sections in that same town where values might differ. So knowing your town is important. Trying to stay within either the same area, within a mile or 2 or 3 of your subject property, or you do it by zip code. It's going to depend. And in West Hartford, because of the size of the community and the number of various zip codes and locations, one of the things we will search is properties in this particular zip code. If I click on the street address, it opens up the map and tells me exactly where 105 Walden is.
Okay.
And we can see that in the blue. If we come just a little bit below in the yellow, this is the Farmington Center. This is Blueback Square. This is the restaurant district. This is where people like to mingle. It's a destination place.
Yeah.
And you can see 105 Walden is walking distance to the center of town. That would be important to factor in because people in West Hartford like location-wise, like being near the center of town. It adds value for sure. Versus another section of West Hartford, for instance, would be sort of the southeastern section, which is bordering on Hartford and Newington, and that's considered the Elmwood section of West Hartford. If our property was in Elmwood, we would be searching and looking at properties strictly in that area of town. Make sense?
Yes, that's true. So even when I check on the realtor.com or Zillow.com, right? So in that area, the sold price was also mentioned, like this kind of property, at how much price, right? It went. So you can also compare that data with your property also, right? So you can have some stats from there also.
Yeah. Let me back out of this for a moment. So we know where it is located. And we can look here because all the statistics are right here on the MLS. It's an 8-room, 4-bedroom, 1 full, 1 partial bathroom, 1,884 square feet, built in 1926. Typical kind of a small West Hartford lot, 0.18 acres. And we'll look at the photos in a minute, but always looking at property history. So I'm going to open up property history. And if something was on MLS, it'll probably be about 13, 14 years worth of history. So oftentimes you can really trace a lot of years back and whether a particular property has been sold and how often or not sold. And if it's been on MLS, all that history will remain.
Okay.
So this is another part of why I choose this particular property for this introductory CMA class is if we look back at it being a new listing back at or 349,000, and this came on the market as March 23rd of 2020. Significance there was March 23rd, 2020 was literally this was coming on the market just as we were all becoming aware of this thing called COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
So it was like happening at the same time. So it came on at 349. It goes under contract several days later. And then several days later, it goes from the under contract status. The CTS is under contract, continue to show. If it were just UC under contract, that's an indicator that the seller is happy with the offer that they've accepted and they're not asking for any more showings on the property. The under contract continue to show status is, yeah, we have a contract, but there are contingencies. And during the contingency period, we're going to allow brokers to bring buyers to the property if they so choose.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what the UCCTS is. So, but then they changed it to a T, which is temporarily off the market. Something happened within several days of this thing going under contract. And whether the sellers bailed or the buyers bailed, I mean, if the buyers bailed, they wouldn't have even had time to have done a home inspection. So it would have been more perhaps that circumstances in life for either the buyer or the seller changed. And I'm going to say at this early juncture, it was probably the buyer, because after it went temporarily off the market for a few days, it comes a couple of weeks later, several weeks later, it comes back active on the market. And then within several days of it coming back active on the market in April, on April 28th, they withdraw it from the market. That's what a W is. It's a withdrawn. Now, when a property is withdrawn from the market on MLS, the W stands for, okay, the seller's decided not to sell the property, but the listing agreement, the contract dates for that listing agreement between the seller and the broker are still in effect throughout the duration of the listing period, which means if the seller were to go and try to sell the property, they would owe the broker commissions.
Okay. Yeah.
The other option would be changing it to a cancel. This case, they did a withdraw. The cancel would be whatever, something came up between the broker and the seller, and they've decided to just go their different ways and end their obligation. And once something goes into the cancel or cease status, anybody could be coming after and calling the seller, trying to solicit for their business. With the withdraw, it's a broker protected status. So the brokers are not in a position, because it's a valid listing agreement. So the other brokers aren't in a position, it would be unethical for other brokers to try to call that seller and try to solicit for their business if it's in withdrawn status. But they kept it in withdrawn because the seller clearly was indicating they had no intention at this point of selling. Broker said, well, we're not going to force you to sell. So, so it goes into the withdrawn status. And then we see on 9/1, it shows up E as an expired listing. So that's what will happen as soon as the contractual date for the listing expires, in this case, it expired at midnight on 8/31. It now becomes, if you pull it up by its MLS number, it's now in the expired status. And so all of that happening with this property in that short period of time during 2020 goes under contract very quickly, falls apart very quickly. They come back on the market very quickly, take it off, and then off it stays. And it's never come back on the market. So the interesting part of all of this and looking back at this time in this period is as things have changed and evolved, and we go to 2021 and 2022 and 2023, and now we're in 2024. And so the exercise today is these people want to now put their house back on the market, and what price would we recommend? So that's a boatload.
Seller's mind looks tough. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what transpired for the sellers? But they're still there. Matter of fact, one of our people after this class some while ago, actually went over to their house and knocked on the door just to introduce themselves and see if they had any change of heart in, selling their property, and they did not.
Yeah.
So let's look at a couple of the pictures so when we start looking at other properties, we can make some comparisons.
Yep.
So we got the front standard, I mean, it's a 1926 colonial, which a lot of older homes in West Hartford for sure. And front view, walk inside. I mean, I do my own little analysis. For me, I kind of keep it in my own head, really kind of simple. I look at a property and I go, all right, is this a superior property? Is it above average property? Is it an average property? Is it a below average property? Or is it a, really needs lots of tender loving care? What kind of a property? And so I kind of keep that view as I'm looking at photos, and this is our first interior photo.
So, John, when we do this evaluation of this property, right? So as you told, like they are by looking at the property, still there are different criteria you observe, right? So do you have any something available in the written, like if you look at that level, what things you see that it qualify for that criteria, or it's in the middle, then what things?
I got to apologize with our voice connection is not really clear for me on my end, and I apologize. I have a little bit of a hearing problem, so I don't know how. If I turn up the volume, I think maybe I could try that. Maybe you could try talking slowly.
Oh,
We'll see.
okay.
We'll see what we can do here.
Okay.
No, voice is kind of up. Right.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Okay. Yeah, I think I might have to. Okay, let's try. So I know you had just asked me a question, but I wasn't able to make it out.
Okay. So, my question was, so you were mentioning like when you evaluate the property, right? So there are different criteria, like this is a superior property or this is a.
Wait a minute. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe try doing some adjusting.
Okay. I can chat, put it on chat also, like my question.
Let me, actually, I'm gonna hold this thing and I'm trying to adjust volume and I'm trying to adjust the bass and the,
Mm-hmm.
say anything.
Yeah, I'm saying like, when you evaluate the property, right?
Say something, Bobby.
I'm saying, you cannot hear me? Hello? Hello? Arjun, I was speaking like, hello?
Yeah. I got this thing as balanced as I can get it, so I think we have to go with this. You're in the chat.
Yeah, I can type in chat my questions.
That might be, yeah, 'cause I don't know what's going on with this thing. Yeah, these, so the question regarding the recordings at this point in time, that's a work in progress as far as people. That's right. I was gonna reach out to Rihanna to see how people can access this on a recording.
Okay.
I'm gonna note of doing that. All right, let's see, we'll try to go back to this property and see if we can make hay with it. So we've got some pictures
Mm-hmm.
and there's our first interior one. And we see the living room. And I kind of just look for overall condition and upgrades or, things that need work. Looks like it's a nice clean house.
Yeah.
Hardwood floors, good shape. You can tell at some point the window, these aren't not new windows, but they're certainly newer than 1926. So, they were replaced at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Corner hutch, these things in the dining room. Every house in this period of time had the corner hutch in the dining room.
Yeah.
Now, this they didn't really do much with at all. It's an older tile floor and it's the half bath.
Yeah, it's need to be remodeled, right?
Not too much going on there.
Yeah.
Definitely some upgrades in the kitchen. Those are newer countertops and cabinets and so forth. So at some point, newer windows here and here. So definitely improve. Just good overall condition. Nice.
This carpet is old, looks like
Carpet's a little
Yeah.
tired, old. That would have been, I think for me, if I were listing a property, a recommendation that I would have made for them is to remove that particular carpet. And then I would probably have them, if nothing else, just to freshen up and repaint that half bathroom.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that,
Looks okay.
so we got the older tile stuff, but newer toilet, sink, good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Little back porch. 2-car detached garage. It's a small yard, but not much usable yard because they've got it, pretty much covered with stone for the car access.
Yes, yeah.
A little bit of a sort of patio area, not too much to speak of there. And then we have our floor plans. So we have our house. So I know for me, I would say, well, this house is probably, without looking at any others at this point in time, it's probably a little bit above average.
Mm-hmm.
It's not superior. It's,
Yeah.
and I would say it's not way above average. But it's a good house, good bones, well kept, and right walking distance to the center of town. So now that we have sort of the landscape for this property, you're gonna go, okay, let's go find some properties that we should be looking at perhaps. And I'm just gonna focus on single family because that's what we have here. It's not a condo. And we will look at active properties on the market coming soon. The under contract to show that under contract, they're both those categories are properties that are under contract and closed. And I'm going to change it defaults to 365 days, but we don't need to be looking at 365 days worth of closed activity. Probably really no more than 120 days. And all these things can be revised depending on what you get for results. You can make it longer, shorter, do whatever. But we'll start with 120 and see what we get. When I initially do a CMA, I try to keep my search criteria fair to a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to eliminate properties that could be good comparables. But as an example, our property has 1.5 bathrooms and has 4 bedrooms. I'm not going to even search by bedrooms or bathrooms. I'll search by square footage and a couple of other criteria, but I'd rather when I hit the results key down here in the far left bottom, I would rather see more properties and then choose which ones, one looking at them, which ones to eliminate or which ones I want to look more closely at, versus if I only put give me 4 bedroom houses with 1.5 bath, it's going to totally narrow down the selection and I might miss some other properties that could be good comparisons, just not exact specifications to my subject property.
Mm-hmm.
So I will search by the city of West Hartford, town of West Hartford. So we're obviously, because that's where we are. Yeah, I don't have a pad under my mouse, so it's jumping all over the place. So we have West Hartford. So I've chosen West Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
And over here on the far right, if I can. There we go. Get over there. Put the zip code in because I want to compare it to properties that are in my same area of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at estimated above grade square feet. I always do a square foot analysis as part of it. And this is 1,884. So I'll typically put my subject property in a range. So in the middle of a range. So I would go, give me properties from say 1,600 square feet to 2,200 square feet. And every time I put a criteria in on the bottom left-hand screen, it tells me how many matches there are in all these various statuses that we've chosen. So I'm looking at square footage and I might strictly look at Capes and Colonials, because they're both 2-floor living, main level, upper level, very similar in style. And so choose those two, which I could not choose, again, depending on how many properties end up coming up, we could eliminate them or add more or none at all or whatever. The other thing I'm gonna do is down here, right below the style, the year built. So we have an older house here, so I might give me West Hartford homes between, say, 1900 and, I mean, we could go as much as 1970. I just don't want to have any selections of newer properties. That would not make a lot of sense. And so for right now, in all the categories, we've got 31 properties. I'm gonna say, well, all right, for right now, that might be, you know, between the square footage and the zip code and Capes and Colonials, and the year built. I'm gonna go with that, 31 matches. I'm gonna click on results. And they all come up. I'm gonna check on status. Because what I want to have them, if you do that, it'll line it up where the new and the actives will show up first, then the under contracts, and then the closed properties. And if you're actually presenting a CMA to some sellers, that's kind of the way you would show the sellers various properties that you want to bring to their attention. You'd show them actives, then you'd show them those things that are under contract, and then you would show them properties that have recently closed. And you probably, if you can, maybe selecting several of each category. Out of these 31 properties right now, you'll see there's only 1, 2, 3. There's only 3 that are active and 1 that's coming soon. And we just click on the first one, 170 Webster Hill. So it's brand new to the market. Brand new to the market is for 7 days. Once a listing gets beyond 7 days, it changes status from new to active.
Okay.
So if we look at Webster Hill Boulevard, and so we have a Cape Cod here versus a Colonial. And above grade, it's a little bit larger than our subject property, 1,929 square feet. But you'll see here in that 1,929 square feet, which is pretty darn close to 1,884, it's 6 rooms versus our subject property being 8 rooms. It's 3 bedrooms versus ours being 4. So it's a little bit larger, yet the room, so the rooms, it has 2.5 full baths versus our 1.5. Slightly newer, but same vintage, 1939, and a little bit larger lot, close to a little bit closer to a 1/4 acre. I always look at property history. See, this has history that dates way back to 2011. And it closed back in 2011 for 355,000, which has no relevance to today. It's way too many years ago, other than it did sell once upon a time, and now it's back on the market. And so we'll go back to the listing. So we can open this thing up and kind of look at these things. Nice hydrangeas. I love hydrangeas. It's very nice. Nice. Everything's nice and clean.
Yeah, nice and clean. Kitchen is also.
Definitely some upgrades in the kitchen for sure.
Yeah. And lots of like shelves and all this that they can utilize for their kitchen also. Spacious.
Nice, nicely kept.
Yes. These style looks so old.
Older tile, but all good shape.
Yeah, good shape. Oh,
They got a lower level finished rec room. Okay. Yeah. Little patio area.
small, but it's okay, well maintained.
And you got the 2-car garage in the back. It's a little bit different setup, but yeah, it works.
Yeah, more rooms for other cars too, right? So.
So what we know is it's new to the market one day. It's on at 489. So, and oh, by the way, let's look at the location. So Webster Hill Boulevard being right, oopsie, right here. It's a little bit, it's further away from the center of town, but it's still in the same zip code. So it would not be, it wouldn't be as easy a walk to the center of town as our Walden Street.
Yeah.
But it's within striking distance, but nonetheless, it's pretty close by.
Yeah.
And just curious if you were just looking at this property, and they have a $489,000 price on it. Would you buy this property or would you buy Walden?
So it depends on like what my requirement is firstly, right? So by looking
Yeah.
at property, what I'm finding it's also near to the highway.
Mhm.
You can just click highway. Yeah, but the price is almost 100K down, right? More than 100K.
Well, of course, the fact is that what we're trying to establish for our seller is what are we going to put their house on the market for in July of 2024 as opposed to their March of 2020 listing. So well, we would definitely want to show our sellers on Walden this property because I think there's enough going on here to say that it would definitely be some competition for sure. Then we have, look at this, we have another one right on Webster Hill. This thing is on for 555,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, 1941 built, almost a third of an acre.
Yeah, 30 acres.
Let's see how long. So this has got some MLS history that dates back to 16 and 2017. You can see the house color was different. And it sold, for 325,000 back on August of 2017. Now here we are. And it was coming soon, and then went live on 6/27. So it's only on a couple days. And now this guy's 1837 square feet, so it's almost identical size to ours. It's got the 2.5 full baths versus the 1.5. 7 rooms, 3 bedrooms.
2.9.
So they're calling it Cape, which is
Okay. But front,
looks like it's in good shape.
yeah, front yard is also having more space.
Good shape.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, this one and the one we just looked at, they're both literally both on the same street and pretty similar size, pretty similar age. Layouts are different, but
It's all well, nice and clean and well painted also.
cleaned up. Everything looks good, fresh.
Yeah. Mm.
Somewhat of a finished lower level. Good place to throw the kids.
Yes.
Side deck area. They had some trees taken down here. Power again. Yeah, I mean, it was when it was a red house.
That house. Maybe that's why he
Been
painted.
fine with the fall foliage, huh?
Yeah, that's why he painted red.
It's kind of cute. Yeah, so I mean, we would definitely want to show our sellers on Walden this property as well. It's similar in a lot of respects.
Okay.
Now here we even have one that's on Arundel that's $599, even higher.
Yeah, it's more hard.
Going up, they're going up. What do we got here? 2,073 square feet. A little bit larger than ours, built in about the same time, pretty close, pretty much same size lot. Same, one full, one partial.
Yeah. And it's near to that you were mentioning that Farmington, walkable, whatever the place was, right?
Yeah. So this doesn't have any MLS history at any recent time, so it's brand new listing.
Mhm.
And we could, Arundel's going in the other direction from I mean, it's gonna be it would be walking distance, but not. Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough. It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right, yeah, so it's very similar because our Walden's right over here.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Anything on these streets, by the way, would be, ideal properties and I could, if you really wanted to spend time, like, because I'm doing this class every month, there are properties on Brunswick that have sold and Clifton that have sold and Walden that have sold and they, truly would be properties that help us define where we should be pricing ours if we decide to go on the market here.
Mhm.
Looks nice from the outside. Nice little neighborhood.
This is also having some upgrades.
Yeah. Yeah.
Office area.
Attic area, looks like it's heated, so.
Mm. Um,
Are detached. With a nicer yard than ours, so it's got the lower deck, the upper deck.
mhm.
Well, we'd want to show them this one too, because it's close enough in size and age and square footage and lot size and so, but interestingly enough, right, we go back to the one-liners here, out of these properties that we've just looked at, we got one at 489, one at 555, and one at 599. And there really isn't a great deal of difference between the three of them.
Yeah.
I don't think. And then we have one coming soon, so take a peek at that because it's going to be hitting the market.
Mhm.
It's on Boulevard, so Boulevard's a busier road.
Mm.
But it's a little bit larger, but similar kind of age and yards pretty similar and whereabouts in Boulevard. Okay. Yeah, so I mean here's our center of town, and so it's right here. So it's definitely walking distance.
Mhm.
And this one will be coming out at 499. And doesn't have any previous history. It's a little, I don't know if that's the most attractive picture with it looks like
Yeah,
overgrown with the
yeah.
landscaping.
Welcome.
Interesting taste, but
Yeah.
won't be to everybody's.
Yeah. That.
Cabinets are a little bit old and
by looking at this property, I think the property what we are going to list, that's better than this property.
Mhm. Oops, yeah. Okay, it's say it probably falls more than the average. But it's got location because it's close by.
Mm.
The soaking tub, which and it looks like and a shower, so it's that one's a little. I mean, for me, that would be just a little awkward. It's like trying to get in and out of there would be
Yeah,
more work than I would care to put into it.
they don't have picture for the back. Right? So, okay, there is a bridge.
No. Your older garage type
Mhm.
bay. Okay, so you know, I don't know. I'd probably show them this one. I don't want to overdo it, but between new and coming soon or Acton, we got 4 properties and basically from 500,000 to 600,000, and all very similar size. But if I go now to these under contracts
Mhm.
to show. Got this Boulevard. You see this 4 miles, 4 miles right in the center of town.
Mhm.
1868, so it's almost identical size to ours. It's 6-room versus 8-room, same 1.5 baths,
Mhm.
built same year,
Yeah,
a little bit
little.
larger yard, but. And what do we got here? This thing was under original price of $699. And
Okay.
we're now up another 100,000.
And sold.
Oops, I want to go back to that. So it was on the market for 43 days, presumably. Let's look at property history.
Mhm.
So it was on last year,
549.
and yeah, it went under contract. It went, it looks like our Walden, and it went under contract, then it was temporarily taken off the market, then it went into withdrawal status, and then they canceled it in May of last year. But at that point, it had come on at 549.9. Now they come on this year at 699 back in May.
150 more, okay.
Uh, you know, we could, well, we won't today, but we could go back and look at you could tell they certainly repainted the exterior, but what other improvements they made to warrant $150,000 price bump, and well, we'll maybe get a glimpse of that when we look at the photos here. Suggest that the kitchen is new.
Yeah.
Everything's clean and tidy.
Mhm.
And very vacant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they obviously poured a little money into this thing to really spruce it up.
Mhm. And this.
It's neutralized.
But floor looks old, having old tiles.
One car detached. This house, nice condition, nice shape. It's a little lawn. But here we are. We don't know, obviously, at this point, we don't know what it's sold for, but very similar size house to ours, a little bit more upgraded. Of course, also had a price tag of 700,000 on it. So,
Almost double.
like, oh, yezzer. All right, so we have one there, and let's go down for the under contracts. Cape Cod. For Pleasant. Yeah, Pleasant is right street over from Walden.
Okay.
Also Cape Cod. But we got 2,000 square feet, so slightly larger.
Yes.
Has the same number of rooms. Has a second full versus half bath.
Yeah.
Bit larger yard for sure.
Yeah. Build is old. 10 years.
So history is brand new listing and no previous history.
Mhm.
Was on for 37 days.
The same much like
It's gonna need some freshening up.
Mm-hmm. And also,
Some interesting color choices.
yeah,
Which is not too much to write home about. There's Fort Laundry. So got some issues and some issues.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's a needs some work.
more, but backyard.
Attached. Nice little yard, nice deck.
So
It's on for 37 days,
it's still it's
500,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would definitely want to show them this.
Yeah.
I mean, ours is in better shape.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, we would have a couple, we would definitely have a couple under contracts to show them. The 135 4 mile would be appropriate, 26 Pleasant would be appropriate. We could look at
This one.
366 Ridgewood at 275, but I can assure you, if we open that up, that house is probably like close to a tear down.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna just lastly on these, look under Soulgrave. Interesting, and it's 2 bedrooms, it's 2,100 square feet, it's a Cape versus a Colonial. It's a larger,
Large rating,
I don't know if I'd go out of my way with Soulgrave. I might leave it just with the others.
Mhm.
And then just so we don't stay here all day, and we'd go probably to the most important, which would be those properties that are closed, although these under contracts and actives are, I mean, some pretty good indicative properties of the marketplace. Let me see if any of the, oh yeah, so here's Walden. So this is our our subject street. This is a little bit bigger house.
Yeah.
And
56 Walden Street is kind of 0.25.
is it what?
The 56 Walden Street is 26 area, the Akit.
Well, we got one here, 156. We can look at that one. We're gonna look at 174. And you got 56. I mean, so just in a short period of time, we can look at 3 properties right on our subject property street, right? So, well, we'll start down here with 56 Walden.
Okay.
So little bit larger, but 8-room, 4-bedroom, same bath and a half. Built 1929, almost, within a couple of years. A little bit larger yard.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at the
This is
pretty wild. So this comes on in March of 2014, goes under contract within a couple of days, multiple offers. And look at the sale price,
yeah, 552.
amazing. And whoops. And if we look at the listing itself, I believe this is the one that Rob sold this, I think. Or not, no, one of the other agents. But yeah, just very similar to ours. It's on the same streets, pretty much the same age.
Mm.
Much wallpaper that people aren't too crazy about.
Yeah. The kitchen is old. It's not upgraded.
Kitchen's okay.
Mhm.
Laundry to the porch area. Wallpaper. Floor needs some work there.
Even bathroom, the floor, tiles.
I mean, this is, you know, I mean, certainly location is really, really good. The exterior is very attractive, nice little yard deck. The interior is two-car detached, needs, you know, definitely needs some work. It's not pristine. I wouldn't call it superior.
Yeah,
However, look at that sale price, huh?
yeah, it's 692. Wow.
So that's 56 Walden. Now, what do we got here? We got 56 Walden, 174 Walden. Eight rooms, three bedrooms, 1.5. A little bit smaller than ours, 1640, but also has some finished lower level space. Same kind of yard, a little bit newer house. Newer in the 1938 versus 1926, but you know, what do we got here? Property history. So it closed. It closed back in May of 2020 for 330,000,
Mm.
and now we are 4 years later, and they come on at 459,900.
And the closed it.
That
Right.
goes under contract very quickly. Closes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
One car attached garage. Clean.
Mm-hmm.
Two hanging guitars. Obligatory corner hutch in the dining room.
Mm-hmm. Kitchen is also okay.
Kitchen looks good. Graded. Area. Fire pit. Graded. Lower level. Nice house.
Nice lower area.
So this baby came on at 459,
Wow.
sold for 565. Huh. Guess people like living on Walden. All
Mhm.
right, let's see, there was the other one, 156 Walden. And we'll call it a day after looking at this and just kind of
Wow. 590.
talk about our observations here. Let's see. Another one, look at this, 599.9, 3 days in the market, close price 721. You want to move to West Hartford? Oh. We can see if there's any previous property history with this guy. Goes back in 2015. It closed, canceled. It was canceled, so never did sell. But it was only on the market for about a week, so they just changed their mind. But this time, no, on and off, on and under contract very, very quickly and closed quickly and well above the listing price.
Yeah.
Cash.
Oh.
Well kept, clean house.
Yeah.
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 Messy one, little shed, nice flowers.
And okay.
All right. So. 721.
Yeah.
So looking at these, I mean, if you think back to March of 2020 and what probably seemed at that point a pretty realistic listing price. It went under contract pretty quickly. I mean, it fell apart because people changed their minds, but you know, that was probably a reasonable price back in 2020. But as we look at all of these properties actives under contracts and closed, and even specifically those properties on Walden, which are our subject properties street.
Yeah, it's too
I mean,
way high. Yeah, way high prices.
I mean, what do you think you would, you know, after reviewing all these things, what might you suggest to the seller as a listing price if they say, please tell me, what do you think we should list the property at?
I would suggest let's go with, I don't want to go as over. So that if we will go over, then we will see less clients. If we put around, like I think around 515 or 30, then we can get more offers. And based on the bidding, we can decide like whoever plays a high bid. 515.
Yeah, no, I think that's very reasonable. I figure if you're anywhere around 500 in that range, 515, 520, 525, you're gonna be perfectly fine. The market will obviously dictate what's gonna happen next. And that's been a difficult part of the last several years, and most specifically the last couple of years, is whatever the list price you put on, you know, the supply demand thing in the marketplace, and the market's just gonna drive the outcome, and the outcome right now is always leaning in favor of the sellers. And some of these properties that are, you know, selling well in excess of the listing price, easily, in some of these cases, over $100,000 more. So if you're pricing the property somewhere in the low fives, for instance, the chances are it's going to get driven up, and on the outside chance it doesn't get driven up, I would think the likelihood is you're not going to have to reduce the price, you know?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, if you had to reduce the price, you'd only have to reduce it once, and you might take a 525 and reduce it to 495 or something, you know, but based on this market right now and the lack of inventory and still the buyer demand, and just looking at these properties, and they're all very recent, they're all current. And yeah, it seems that pricing it in the lower fives would be totally acceptable, and I think it would be the right way to go versus, you know, shooting for a higher mark that doesn't really resonate with the marketplace. I mean, our property could be certainly improved. The half bathroom area could be improved. The yard could be improved for sure. The house itself is in nice shape, and it's, you know, well kept and all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could tell you that there are a couple of other properties, both on Clifton, which is the next street over. They sold a little bit earlier in the year. I only went back 120 days, but same kind of thing, where these properties are coming on the market at, you know, a couple of them 500, selling at 600, and just pretty remarkable in my opinion. It's like,
That's true.
I guess all I can say about it, Bobby, is it's a good time to be a seller.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even we got the house, right? So we are getting very good amount, like if we real sale it. But the thing is, like, when we go to buy other house, right?
Yeah.
Then it gonna be
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about selling, and part of the reason why there's so little inventory available in Connecticut. Connecticut it was number one. Somebody said it dropped to number two out of all the states in the United States for lack of inventory available.
Mhm.
So it's a tight market. And I mean, part of that is people that own their homes and have mortgages, and for the last 15 years, prior to the last 2 years, people were hanging on with 3% interest rates, and people don't want to give them up. So.
That's true. Even we got this house around like February 20. So again, it's the same, like 3% percentage. And it was like very reasonable price we got it, but now it's very high, and it's new construction also.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, we are getting good price. But the thing is like next, if we want to go buy a new house, it's gonna be high too.
Yeah, if you're in the same marketplace, yep. You can get a great price, and you're gonna move up and pay a bigger price. And if you're gonna do financing, you're gonna do financing at an interest rate that's probably double what you're currently dealing with.
Yes.
So, it's continuing to put stress on the buyers, but it's the market we're living in right now, and markets shift all the time, and this one will shift as well. And I can think, certainly in my career, I can remember a couple different times and periods where there was so much inventory on the market, you couldn't sell anything because of higher interest rates or a bad economy, whatever the case may be. And now we've got buyers who are just swarming to buy properties as soon as they hit the market. And again, depending on where the communities are and where the properties are in the communities, it ratchets itself up like properties that are walking distance to the center of town. It's like in West Hartford, they seem to be in big demand.
Yes, and the location, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, the exercise of going through all of this, picking properties, looking at properties, kind of, just helping to formulate good market opinions. And then this is kind of just the basic CMA class to how do we choose properties, and where do we go to find them, and what are we looking at, and what kind of conclusions are we making, and then you can put this stuff, if you go take RPR, which is through the National Association of Realtors. RPR has a CMA program, and you could create and put this into a very, very nice listing presentation. Proprietary to Keller Williams, nice fancy dancy kind of presentation booklet type of thing. That obviously was not today's class, but I think you seem to have the lay of the land and got a pretty good handle on kind of how to go about doing this sort of thing. Now we're spending a lot of time talking through this today, but if you're on your own trying to formulate a CMA for a particular property, you can kind of rip through this stuff in about 15-20 minutes, just picking and choosing and selecting your criteria, or deselecting or adding criteria depending on how many properties you come up with. And what I always say to everybody, especially in your earlier years doing this, that anytime you're in a position to do a CMA for a potential listing, you just go on the MLS, do the work, and then run it by me. Let me put some eyeballs on it and see if I think you're on the right page, or if I think you might need to tweak something, or maybe you overlooked something. But take advantage of of my opinions.
Yeah, definitely, John. Yeah, your experience, right? And I'm just new, so definitely your experience gonna help me. I hope I'll get soon, but let's see.
Yeah. So, all right. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. It's gonna be, well, I think it's supposed to be nice, you know.
Yeah, yes, it was nice weather yesterday also. It was pleasant. Yeah. Right.
Enjoy.
Yeah, thank you, John. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Pablo. You betcha.
Bye.
Bye.